By all means.
Hey, good day. Another episode of Cruising the Field. Today, my name is Billy Cruz. Today, I have a first time meeting this man, fellow ward candidate, Ward
Or 21.
21. Yeah, Mr. Kiri. I'm not gonna say your name right. Villadue.
Yes, that's fine, Vadivelu. That works.
Hey, how you doing, Kiri? Nice to meet you. First time. I met you
Oh,
on the MSA once briefly.
that's right. I think we met once or twice over the Zoom on MSA meeting. Yeah, definitely. It was a really exciting journey and definitely a lot of new faces. And that's how I mean, again, we met. And it was a delight to meet a lot of new faces and new activism, new energy. And yeah, here we are.
Okay,
Our fight goes on.
so let's hear your story. I looked up a bit of your history there. You got quite the nice history there. A lot of people know about you. I didn't know half the stuff I read. You know,
Oh,
so tell me where it all began. Well, tell about yourself. Tell people who you
sure.
are.
Oh yes, I guess I'll start from my journey to Canada.
Oh, that's great.
Uh,
Yeah. Where are
uh,
you from?
no, I'm from Sri Lanka actually. I was born in Sri Lanka, in northern part of Sri Lanka, Jaffna, Sri Lanka. So I'm minority in Sri Lanka. I'm Tamil. Most of people would have heard about the Tamil genocide that happened in 2009.
Mhm.
And that's the reason a lot of people actually left the country, and my family was calculating this is almost coming, so they decided to get me out of the country, and that's how I got out of the country. My parents remained in the country.
What year?
um,
What year did you come to Canada?
I came to Canada in 2001.
Oh, okay. Wow.
I was 16 when I came.
Wow. 16. Wow.
Yeah,
So you remember quite a bit of your own country still to this day.
that's right. I had my culture, the country lifestyle, that uh, Tamil, all the stuff with me when I came, and
I
it
uh,
was a
I trained with Tamils in the military when I was overseas. Great
yeah.
bunch of guys. Oh yeah. They used to have these parties. They had to bring the food. At the end of the day, we just party along. Good guys.
Yeah.
Good guys. I till this day I got like three guys I talk to all the time. Sorry, go ahead with your story.
Yeah,
Three guys.
fantastic.
Three
Yeah,
guys. Yeah.
it's we all come from the struggle, so we can easily connect. We so from then on after 2001, I came. It was definitely a culture shock, and I grew up with my uncle and aunt in Markham,
Can
Markham
I
first.
just gotta ask you to
Yeah.
interrupt you? Can you tell me how you found the culture shock? What was the difference you found coming from your country and Canada?
Oh yes. Obviously, language was a big barrier, and all the along with that, completely different way of communication, and different school system, completely a different system, and me trying to get adjusted to it, it was absolutely like unimaginable at the time. Trying to, I'm sitting in a classroom that I don't understand what's happening,
Wow.
and it's we were like, I mean, at that time, obviously I was going through ESL school. I also mentioned this. I'm very grateful for the teachers in my early school, my high school, college, and even in uni.
Oh yeah,
uh,
teachers are the
I,
best. Yeah.
Teachers are the best,
Yeah.
and especially the Ontario. You know what? I love them. I
Mhm.
experienced it firsthand, and they held my hand. Back in then, we had a lot of funding for school, high schools particularly. We had a lot of these extracurricular activity programs, and we had, I believe, up to 5 or 6 ESL levels. And pretty much they held us hand. They were like, "No, you're not failing. You're not going back.
That's
You
great.
you're going to succeed." That's how they were keeping with up with me. And we also had a lot of musics and stuff, and I really had a lot of interest in music, but never had an luxury or the opportunity to pursue, because I had to work part-time to pay my bills and support my uncle.
Yeah.
Obviously we are working class family, so
Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
I pursued in that, and thankfully I graduated in 2000, I believe in 2000, yeah, a few years, 3 or 4, yeah, 3 years I graduated it. um, then I went to college. Then college was pretty a little bit easier, because again I already got the lifestyle, culture, and the language. So
You in Toronto? Your college?
yeah,
Yeah.
I went to Centennial College in Scarborough.
That's great.
Yeah, and it's I although I started as a mechanical technician program, then all of a sudden I met few friends over there with a police uniform, and I got attracted. Then I went into the police foundation program. I completed
Wow.
that.
I didn't know
yeah,
that. Wow.
then I pursued into Tonopolis, and obviously I went up to the last stage, but I did not make it because they felt that obviously I didn't have the enough skills and the experience and the language to compensate the career demand at the time. I actually agree with them.
Oh, really? Okay.
I agree with them because I was not really ready for that at the time. Yeah, but they were really understanding toward me. They're like, again, I'm pretty critical of police. However, that is a totally different thing. Political criticism,
Yeah.
but personal is totally a very different thing. And I really had a very good experience, even the like school experience onto the recruitment experience. I went with Tonopolis and OPB as well, and I was up into the final stage. But then they said come back later. So
Nice. Yeah,
yeah,
that's good.
you know what?
That's a good.
Yeah, but in the meantime, I pursued into my volunteer programs. I mean, I was continued working in volunteer. I was working at, I was actually providing tutors, like tutoring, youth tutoring through a church that I was attending. That was my hobby, and that was kind of volunteer thing I was doing, and I was keep that going. And then afterwards, then my family was like, Kiri, you know what? You have a lot of potential. Why don't you go to uni? My family was like pushing me. It's like especially my uncle and aunt. It's like, Kiri, you could do this. Come on, your mom is a teacher. Back home, right? So come on, you could do this. And I'm like, okay, fine, I'll give it a try. Then I went to uni, and thankfully,
Sorry, what is uni again?
it was University of Ontario, Oshawa.
Okay.
Yeah,
Cool.
it was another 3.5 years of ride. I did quite well actually, and I graduated in 2011.
As a teacher?
No, actually, I did criminology.
Oh, wow.
I continued the legal segment. So I
Wow.
completed criminology, and I was actually even then I was planning about going into teaching. But then around that time, I got like right around that time, I had a lot of bills to pay and I had a lot of loans. So I'm like, let me take a break from school. Let me just work. And I was working in security industry. So yeah, that's how I continued. And then age came, and then again my family came around my back and was like, maybe Kiri, you should get married. I'm like, okay. They don't leave you alone, right?
Such a good influence, yeah.
So yeah,
my buddy, my Tamil buddy, his name's Rodriguez. That's his funny
yeah.
name. He always says he said never cross a Tamil mother. He always
Oh
tells me,
yeah.
yeah, just like never cross an Irish mother. Yeah, can't cross the mothers. You gotta do what they're told, right? Sorry, go
Yeah,
on.
they're very demanding, right? It's obviously it comes from a good place of heart. So
Oh yeah,
yeah, and it's a cultural influence too. And then I figured, obviously graduating school, working, and I felt, because my family back there and my uncle and aunt was here, but still I felt a little bit loneliness. I mean, there was a lot of loneliness, so to combat. So I'm like,
you meet a lot
maybe.
of like fellow Sri Lankans, like in Scarborough or whatever. You got
Yeah, oh yeah. But personally, like when you don't have your family in a new
yeah,
place, it's kind of isolating, and you don't find completely like I guess well rooted.
yeah.
So that's how that's how I seen it. And then obviously
Do you have brothers and sisters back there at the time?
I had a younger brother. We lost him
Oh, sorry. I'm sorry to hear that.
at the beginning of the genocide in 2006 actually.
What was his name?
His name is VG.
BG. Hey, rest,
Yeah, VG. Yeah,
rest in peace, BG. Nice.
yeah. Thanks. It's something that my family is still struggling with.
All right, yeah. Is he the
So
oldest son?
no,
He's the oldest.
he's the youngest,
Oh, is he? Oh, wow. Okay.
and he's it's funny. My family would say that he had more potential than me because
Wow.
he was just a smart kid.
Yeah. Well,
Early
you
days.
too, right?
Oh, I don't know, but thanks.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Even the way you talk, it's just so intelligent. Honestly,
oh man,
it's articulate. I can see you
I
writing a book. I can see you writing a book.
appreciate it. You know what? I think it's a group. I mean, it's an influence on the people that we come across, right? You give me the space to speak, and you allow me to speak, and that you give me the confidence and the support to speak. So, and credit to you, brother.
Yeah. No.
So
Yeah. Continue on your story. Come on.
yeah,
Sorry.
so um, Then yeah, then after uni, then obviously I was still working in the security sector, and somehow things came up, so I decided to get married, and
So
yeah. So,
how did that happen?
yeah,
Gotta go back a bit here.
actually, when I was back home,
You went from security, now you got married. Wow, that was quick.
yeah.
So
So
how
because
that happened?
yeah, because I was in Sri Lanka, I went to visit my family,
Yeah.
and my family was like, they were like, they wanted me to get. This is what happened, right? They wanted me to get marry somebody in Sri Lanka. I was like, no, I'm already in Canada. I
Yeah.
really want to find somebody in Canada and marry here because I understand the, the mechanism of bringing somebody from here there to here. But at the same time, I'm like, my life is already busy, and I had so many things to catch up in life.
Because of
I really.
the culture thing, because they want somebody in your own culture and your own faith to marry.
Yeah, but that is true. But my family actually, they were interested in me bringing somebody from back home to here.
Oh, okay.
It was a lot of challenging for me because considering myself here, it was a very struggle for me. So, I said I wasn't really fan of that. I wasn't really into it. Then,
Did they have any women back there lined up for you?
oh yes, they did.
Oh my gosh.
And but I said
Did they
no.
go like, here's the catalog?
Yeah, yes, they do that actually. They do
I'm just
that.
kidding.
Yes.
That's funny.
So they done that too. Yeah. So I said no, and I promised them I will get married here, and
Oh, that's nice.
and then thankfully I got a network through them. Actually, extended family members who are here. We got connected to someone here that I came and I met, and I liked her, and
You sure
we
like
went
them?
out. Oh, she's Sri Lankan, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So then, it was pretty short time because we didn't have a lot of dating time. I mean, my family was asking about me and like, what's going to happen? What are you going to do? And, and her family was like that too. Actually, here's a picture. We
That's
got
you.
married in,
Oh, let's see it. What a nice looking couple. Wow. That's
yeah,
you? Look so
yeah.
different back then.
Oh, yeah. Because
Wow.
at the time I was going into the policing, so I had to have the
Yeah,
clean
yeah.
shave.
Yeah, the short hair. No, I look good with
Yeah.
short hair. Yeah, yeah. It's nice. So
Yeah,
how did
thanks.
you, so you met over here through friends over here in Canada?
Yeah, I met her through family network, and
Or was it like love at first sight? Did you like,
yeah, pretty much, pretty
yeah,
much. I
that's
just
good.
took her out a few times and I proposed her. I'm like, you know what?
Wow.
Yeah, I'm
Well,
like
like less than 2 months?
yeah, 3 months actually.
Wow, I love it. I like short-term relationships. I got a buddy, he's engaged for like 2 years. And when are you gonna get married, buddy?
Well, you know what? This is the other thing too, right? Because the relationship, when you go out for a long time, you lose the vibe and the energy, and then you start asking more questions.
Yeah.
Then there's no answers, no into it. When
Yeah.
if you like somebody, just click it.
Yeah, what are
Just
you waiting? I
go.
said, what are you waiting for? The change of the butter sign or what? Buddy, come on,
Exactly.
get married. I
Yeah,
said,
I know. Life is short. We got
it
to
is.
live.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's so true. Yeah. So go. Sorry.
So
Continue. So you met what's your wife's name?
yeah, Dushi.
Lucy. Yeah. Nice.
Sushi, yeah. So we got married, and obviously at in the pandemic we had our first baby. So yeah,
Oh,
so our baby is 1.5 year, almost 2 years old now.
what's your baby girl?
A baby girl, yeah.
What's her name?
Her name is Catherine.
Oh, so nice. Nice. Just
Yeah,
one,
it's
one child.
one child, yeah.
Oh,
So
cool.
we'll see, how things go.
Wait till your mother calls. Rachel, we need another grandchild.
Yeah, it's already on the line. So we,
Your mother will
let's
call.
see, because a lot of things are still in the air right now here.
Yeah.
You know,
It's hard. It is hard. Yeah.
it is rough. So yeah, we'll sort of figure this out.
Okay. So
Um,
you got married, and then what happened after that?
yeah, then obviously yeah, then in the through the pandemic, I was still, I mean, at the beginning of the pandemic, I was still working, and I was working at a security company. It's called Secure. You see, I forgot the company that I work for.
Here,
Securitas. It's called a
I
Securitas
was reading
Canada.
I was reading your bio. Did you go to Pittsburgh?
Yes, in
No,
US.
okay. You missed that.
I, I,
Fill that part in.
oh yes, actually, because of again this work, I was working, and I was
But
I was
I know more about you than you do yourself.
Wow.
Yeah, I read your thing. You went to Pittsburgh, and so
Interesting. Yeah, so
okay.
that was a quite interesting because I was when I was working in security industry, and I was active in the union side. So I had a United Steelworkers Union, and I was actually getting a full training to be a steward at the company. So I was in the process, and then company is anti-union, so that's open secret. So I was going through a big fight with the company, and that's how I ended up losing the job because it's just that things didn't go well at the beginning of the pandemic. We were left hearted, and yeah, the fun part is Pittsburgh. It's like I was sent in for steelworker training, leadership training.
Okay, how long is that over there?
It was about a month, full training.
This before you met your wife or after?
Oh, that's actually after I met her. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
After you're
So
married?
after married, yeah.
Okay, so you went to Pittsburgh with your wife for a month, or she stayed here?
Actually, she came twice. We went there twice, and once she came with me just to visit US and see how things are there.
How'd you like it over there?
Actually, I didn't find much difference. The weirdest part is like whether you're in Canada and US, both look the same.
Feels the same, right? Yeah.
Yeah. It's only thing is obviously they have the miles. We have kilometers here, but they
I know.
have.
Okay, I can't explain it. Why are the only country in the whole world that has miles? I don't understand that.
I know.
I don't
I
get it.
know. It's
We're all converted, right?
exactly, and obviously back from Sri Lanka, it's all miles and kilograms. But here we converted it.
Yeah.
We adapted it, and I went there, and I'm like, am I going at 60 kilometer per hour or 60 miles an hour? Then I'm like, oh, what? There's a diameter that actually shows how many miles in. We don't have to do the conversion in our head.
Yeah, it's so funny. Like even their cars, like my cousin states, I go in the cars, I go, where's the kilometers on this thing? It's all in miles, right? The
Yeah.
odometer, yeah, it's funny. Oh,
So
you didn't mention, did you win an award over there or something?
yes, it was a leadership award. After completing it, there was quite a bit. It's a pretty intense leadership training that United Steels provides, and they have the United Steels workers. They have their own training system. That I thought it was one of the best experience. They challenge you mentally, emotionally. They really force you to articulate things. That's because again it's a labor, right? Labor studies, labor history, and law. So they really push all the buttons for you to speak up and see which angles you can use to defend the workers, because defending the workers it's a mantra. It doesn't matter how you do it, but you have to do it within the existing legal framework. But at the same time, though, we have an obligation to improve our legal framework. Unfortunately, it's being ripped apart by like different governments. But I mean, they say that we are only as good as the people we elect.
So the award is what did you win the overall award out of everybody that competed, or what's the award called?
It's a leadership. It's an involvement in the leadership program. So it's actually everybody got one. The way it works is that we had about 7,000 people over 7,000 people that actually were represented by the United Steelworkers in my company. I mean, within the Greater Toronto area, within the security sector. So I was the first one to go. So I was already selected for that. So it's sort of they have a different way of classification. So the leadership program, that once you're selected, once you're enrolled, everybody get that as long as you complete it.
Okay, so everybody got it.
Yeah, everybody got
pretty
it.
Good. They get a leadership. That's amazing.
They do invest in people.
Oh, that's good.
And I remember like it was the people that you meet, it's amazing, and I still have them in network.
You ever reflect, like now you're in Pittsburgh, you ever reflect back then when you started your story? I'm sitting in the classroom, I don't know what's going on. Now you're in Pittsburgh, you got an award, like wow. Like I love seeing progress in education and people and personalized, your story. Like you said you're sitting in the class before by yourself, you don't know what's going on. Now you're being trained and now you got an award, right? It's amazing,
Thanks, brother. Really appreciate it. Yeah, it's a significant space of travel.
Oh yeah.
And it's a consistent effort. It's because again the struggles that we come from when people are given the space to succeed. For the most part, people want to succeed. We want to go forward. But unfortunately, our political system is a backward system. Thinks that, oh yeah, if you give people money, the basic income, oh, they're not going to do anything. That's a wrong. It's just,
Oh yeah, we'll get
yeah,
into the second part, the second part.
yeah.
Yeah. So
Okay.
just so continue on your story. You finished Pittsburgh. You came back to Toronto, Canada.
Yeah, so after the training, then I came back here and I continued working. And obviously, my employer was on my back, and wanted to actually made my job really unsafe. I mean, it's unfiltered, so I'm not worried about telling everything as it is.
Yeah.
So yeah, they made my job really unsafe at the middle of the pandemic while I was demanding to provide masks, gloves, and make our workplace safe for everybody. So
Yeah.
what was happening is that it was so cruel that when I started my shift, I will not see mask, gloves. They'll be like, oh, it's finished. Oh, that's right before I start my shift. 15 minutes before I start my shift, everything is finished.
No mask and gloves and all that, right?
No,
Wow.
either few or most days there's none.
And now you've got a baby right now, right? At that
That's
time.
right. That's right.
You're
And
going home with the wife and the baby. You're not sure you're going to get exposed. There's no vaccine back then.
exactly. And a lot of things were still in the air. Government.
Oh yeah.
I mean, we had March 15. It was a full lockdown, and we are here in the middle of, I think, beginning of April. I'm fighting with the company to provide masks and gloves, and it was already too late. So I was really heavy-hearted, and I was actually also fighting with my union too. I'm like, no, you need to make it urgent because we cannot let this happen. Again, I'm one of the lead, so I had to pull the union forward. That's why I was trained. So I was doing everything I can according to what the best would do in that time, and in the process, I got my job axed.
Yeah, it must be, it's
So
terrifying. Like I had my mom, I take care of her. Like I almost care for, like, you're going and working in an environment, nothing, no protection. You must be terrified going home every day. Think, am I gonna give my wife, my kid? And that was the thing.
exactly,
Biggest
it,
fear. Saw what
it
happened to
is.
seniors now.
Yeah, and it's devastating actually. So it's actually at that time I think yeah, my wife was going through pregnancy, so we did not have a baby just yet.
Oh,
So it was a pregnancy, so it was more alarming for me.
oh
And
wow.
obviously, I was not really actually able to enjoy the pregnancy time, that time, early time,
Yeah,
because it was a lot of anxiety going on, right?
yeah.
Yeah, my wife was like, "Do you really have to work now? I mean, what's going on? It's what if something happened to you now? Because I'm here. You have to take care of me." And she had complications as well. So it was a pretty difficult time for us, to put it mildly.
Wasn't the hospital on, like, quite a bit of lockdown unless it's an emergency, whatever? Like,
Oh yeah, then for the delivery it was fine because thankfully again the staff were good, and we were there for like 3 days. We couldn't because it was a C-section. It wasn't a normal delivery because the
oh,
baby was not turning. She was like
oh yeah.
in a bridge
You
position.
gotta turn the baby. Yeah, my sister's a
Yeah,
nurse. Yeah, I know.
that became more strain on my wife,
Oh yeah.
and she could not go back to work, and I had to take care of her, and I couldn't, around at the time I was fighting, and then I was also on EI because I had no choice. I was already axed from the job.
Yeah,
So a lot of things were like on my plate, but I'm so used to fighting.
yeah.
So right in the middle of the pandemic, my landlord decided to pick a fight with me, like,
Oh,
we
oh,
cannot let this happen. I'm like, I lost my job, and I told my landlord I need more time to pay because I already applied for benefits. I was trying to negotiate with the landlord.
mhm.
Yeah, I was upfront about it, but landlord is like 2 weeks after I got an eviction notice from my landlord.
Oh my gosh.
So how do you not fight? We have no choice but to fight back. So
You have
that's how I got got
no
into.
compassion on the landlords. Don't get me started on landlords. But I'm just saying, he sees your
Yeah,
wife's pregnant, you got no job, no compassion, you know? Even though they put this whole reimbursement for the landlords or not, or businesses, they said the government reimburse you, you can apply for it. A lot of people didn't apply for it, they didn't want it. And look what happened. Look like your landlord, no? You kind of got compensated. sorry, continue your story.
Yeah, it's so then, I took my landlord to, I was fighting with my landlord, and I took him, it's a corporate landlord, big landlord. So I took him to landlord tenant board. And in the meantime, again, using my United Steelworkers skill set and the union solidarity, I was able to mobilize the tenants in my building. And we had a tenant union set up by then. And then I was, the landlord tenant board, just, not only me, but I had my tenants, my neighbors, the other activists. So we were all there. That's when I felt the love and the support of the community. This is Toronto.
Yeah, I love
Yeah,
it.
you know what? This gives us a strength to fight. And then that's how I started in the tenant union. And
were you surprised that you had such a big response and support from all the people around you? Like, were you surprised, like the amount of people who came to support you and back you up?
oh yeah, I'm like, I didn't expect that, right? Because again, I was involved somewhat labor wise. I was active with the union, but I was not really active in my community because again, I didn't have that opportunity. And then obviously, I didn't have, the walls were not there. But then the pandemic just given the opportunity to see and connect with our family and the neighbors and the community among us.
All these strangers just came into your midst, and next thing you got lots of
Yeah,
friends, and that's
that's
like
right.
the only thing I say about the whole COVID is you see on TV, and I talk to hundreds of people, the amount of compassion people have, seeing your situation, let's go fight for this guy, and bang. That's the only thing I like about COVID is it's not like about COVID, just seeing the result of COVID, the interaction of all the communities, tons of stories you see on the news and feel good stories and all, just like yours, you know, nice and overwhelming.
It's
You still talk to these people now? Yeah, are they still your
oh
friends?
yes,
Oh yeah.
yes. I'm still tenant union lead in my building. So we had multiple folks who are leading in our building, and yeah, we continue to do the tenant work, tenant protection work.
And you started
So
this, right?
yes.
Yeah, my God, look at that. It's amazing. I love it. I love it. So what happened?
Yeah.
You won the case?
Yes, I went to the when we were there, landlord tenant board. Obviously, landlord wanted me to be evicted because I was the low-paying rent protected tenant, and he wanted me out. And by law, he's obligated to have a repayment agreement plan with me. But again, he ignored that because he didn't have to. Right? And yeah, so I had all my things lined up, and thankfully, I had community legal group also supported me. So and
Makes me laugh about that, Kiri, is that I've dealt with a lot of landlords with
yeah,
the elections and all. I think there's an ignorance about them. They think because you look a certain way, you're from another country, you're not educated. But like you said, they just didn't do that little clause there, like you talked about, right? They think you're not educated. You think you're like a silly
yeah,
immigrant. I've seen it so many times, but don't underestimate the color of skin or the intelligence of mind. I always say, like you, right? So you blew them
yes,
away. So sorry, continue. I love it. I love it.
yeah. Oh, actually, that's a very good point. Actually, Phil, because we continue to be discriminated. That really plays a big role, importance actually. So yeah, I took him to the landlord tenant board, and we had a case, and he found himself the landlord who's the property manager. He couldn't articulate his roles, and he could not defend his position. He could not say why he wanted me to be evicted because I had it's not like I was not paying rent. I asked for repayment plan.
Yeah.
Repayment means I want to pay rent, but work with me, right? But he tried to say that he didn't pay rent and I want him out. And the next
You had all
question,
the evidence, right?
yeah, exactly. I had everything lined up, and plus I had all the conditions that we were living in the building that landlord did not address, even in the middle of the pandemic. So
Oh,
this is where it was a sticking point for him. Right? The landlord, did not do his responsibility of maintaining the building, but he was quick to enforce his power to extort the rent under any circumstance. So that's where they really kind of expose themselves, the massive greed
yeah.
of the big corporations. And yeah, it was a easy victory because the landlord actually ended up saying that okay, we will do a re-agreement and we will not evict him. So pretty much it. Yeah.
All
So
that.
yeah, it's but the whole time I was on a heavy anxiety because again, I was not familiar with the legal process, and I had to pick everything up in the community through people networking and things. There's no template for you to play along. This is again, we have to create the template. We have to. It's like a battlefield. You go, you don't know which way to go. You have to create the way where you go.
Yeah. Wow.
So
There's no precedent, basically, right?
exactly. And
Wow.
it's again, it's really that there was help in the community. That's how I was able to pull things together. So I was able to bring the people and the resources for me and my neighbors together as well. And yeah, in the end, it was definitely a good victory. And then that set a precedent in the building. So then landlord is actually stopped harassing people, and yeah, I started working with tenants, and also started doing the repairs.
Oh
Uh,
wow. How nice of
yeah.
him. Jeez. After going to court, losing, I guess. Jeez,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's interesting. That's just one story. I got
Mhm.
7 minutes left here, so continue on your story.
Yeah,
So
so
what happened
that's
after that?
while
Did you find a new job after that?
actually while I'm doing that, I was also involved in IT work, because again, IT was something that somewhat of interest. I started doing it after uni.
Mhm.
I was doing some personal projects, but then in the middle of the pandemic, obviously I didn't have jobs. I had a quick backup idea. Oh, why don't I set up my own agency, and why don't I do something? Then that's how I was able to put up that myself and a few colleagues, we were able to put up the company together. So we have a small IT company that
You have
we
your own
run.
company?
Yes,
Oh my gosh, I didn't know that. And what's it called?
it's digital designers.
You call it
Digital.
kick ass.
So it's
That's what you did. Sorry, what's your company called? I'm laughing.
yeah, it's yeah, digital designer. So it's a digitaldesigners.ca. So
Wow.
it's a pretty much a front end web development agency. So we provide search engine optimization, marketing, and web development services.
Do you all work at?
It's
Is it all from home? You work from
it's all
or?
from home. Yeah,
Wow. How long
all
do you
from.
have the company now? Your own company?
Oh, I had it for, I would say, actively, we had it for about 2 years now.
2 years now? Yeah.
Yeah. Before
How's it
that,
going?
we had the ongoing project. Like we had about almost 5 years, but then we never actually done any projects. It's because we were just doing hobby work. So
Okay.
IT is a lot of learning,
Yeah.
and yeah, so it's not bad. I mean, I would like to do better, but again, there's a lot of challenges in the IT industry because again, we would like to think IT jobs will stay here, but the problem is, corporations are greedy. They're taking the jobs away to
Oh
overseas,
yeah.
and they're getting people like India and in Philippines to pay, they work for rupees and few pennies.
Yeah, I know. You've seen
So
it. You've seen the inside. You've seen the whole process. You've been in the whole field from
yeah.
being a steel worker, representative, winning an award. You see in the inside. You see, I don't see all that what you see, which is a nice advantage to learn. So people pick your brain like you pick your neighbors. Now they're gonna pick your brain. Pass on the. So we started out at the beginning. We had about 4 minutes left, sitting in the
Yeah.
classroom by yourself. Don't know what you're gonna do there. And nowadays, and you're here. You get your own company. Hey, I love it. I think it's great.
Thanks, brother. Appreciate it.
Nice personal stories and all. So before I got 4 minutes, we'll get next session in
Yep.
about half an hour. But just tell people what you like doing for hobbies. What is cheer like doing for fun besides going to court?
Oh, oh yes. I'm very actively involved in the community.
Yeah.
So in many different causes, and that's how I got involved with Socialist Action
Hmm.
and the Municipal Socialist Alliance as well. So we are doing some, I would say, groundbreaking political, and economical frameworks.
Hmm.
That again for the to lead the Toronto, because Toronto is a leader, but right now we don't have leadership.
No.
So we have to put Toronto on the map, and Toronto has the potential. And I do not believe that Toronto don't have money. I do not believe Toronto is Toronto is poor, but our resources are misplaced. and it's being poorly managed. And
yeah, big time.
it's that's where that we want to bring the change to the status quo. And I mean, it cannot be done by one person. I mean, it's a collective community work, and that's the beauty of it. I mean, it's like I think the pandemic really presented us an opportunity for individuals to connect with one another and explore the opportunity, the potential of what we can come when we are
I've listened
collectively
to
work
these like
together.
MSA. I've talked to MSA Progress. I think I asked them. I said, if I won, I want to have some of these groups, committees in this missing city hall, different organizations putting a voice there. They think when they think MSA or any other group, progressive, like radicals. So if you're so radical, why they organize out of 100 people, 200 people? But like not just those groups. There's all you can get as many committees in there. Like there's not even a homeless committee in there. I've talked to homeless people in the street. I asked them, would you be interested in coming down? I'll supply the coffee. Come on down and talk. Right? That's just what. And then doing even autism, because autism it's a big thing, right? 40,000 kids missing. What the government helping them, not giving funding. We don't have that in the city hall. So we have these committees and executive and finance and all these different committees, but they're not hitting the core of the people. They're just hitting the core of the echelon. Like they're just making an announcement that so and so he's now the housing and all that. That's wonderful you're in housing, but it doesn't mean you can't relate with any of us. It's nice having a position and you're proud. I'm glad for you. I know the guy, nice guy. But I say, what about us? What are you gonna do that's gonna help all of us? Not just to help your propaganda and your prestige and all, but we don't got the same work, right? I'm just saying, like, and this is what's missing also. Common guys like you and me, like you just told your story, people are gonna reach. You're just gonna say, we need a guy like that in City Hall. Guys like you, struggle, poverty, fighting, the people win. That's just part of it. They're fighting, and you got a community backing up everything you've done, what you talked about. That's what it is. Fighting for our heart, our soul, for the people. We're not here for the rich. Like I said before, we're not here for to impress everybody. Like I said, my election. I'm not a photo op guy. It's the first time I do videos in all my life. The military, nobody knew who I was. I would disappear for months. But I'm saying, like, you're perfect. I think I love to see you as a motivational speaker for people coming to the country. I think that'd be great. Just about I'm one more limited. We'll cut off. But I just want to say, I'm not being pushy. I'm being like your mother. Kiri, I think it's time you do some lectures. you know, I think your experience is like when you go on a stage and you see people. I talked to tons of immigrants in elections when they ran for mayor. Like you pick up so many emails and talk to a lot of people. It's just still happening. So I said, like, I can see you being on a stage. Obviously, I'm just or projecting on a stage one day and just doing what you're experiencing. Like, I stood in a classroom in Canada. I didn't know what I was talking about, and now I'm here on a stage. I'm gonna get a cough in 1 minute, but I'm gonna get part two. We'll talk about politics and all. So just take a break. We'll come back in about half an hour there. Okay.
Thank you, Phil. That's a lot of
I'll talk to you
compliment.
about. Yeah,
Appreciate it.
take a break. Feed your baby. I'll talk to you in a bit. Got to convert
Okay.
now.
Sure.
Okay. I'll talk to
All
you
right.
about half an hour.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So I put down stop recording.